He likes brewing. He likes coming up with new decks. It's a brand new format. Survival is gone. Time Spiral is in. What is Patrick going to do? We're going to have to find out. Alex Tamblyn rocking the Nicobola sleeves. He's on the left. And good old Alex Tamblyn. We're going to find out what he's running shortly. And then on your right, of course, is the innovator himself, Patrick Chapin. Confident, smiling, and ready to take this match down with whatever brew he's got. He's presented his deck. They're waiting for Alex to shuffle. And before you know it, we'll see what we got. So stay tuned if you haven't already.
Played fairies, played 6 mirror matches, and then mono red.
About Hollywood?
Yeah.
Should be an exciting matchup. I mean, these are two great players, so for round one, it's great that we are able to feature these guys against each other.
So.
What do you think? What do you think Chapin's going to be running?
Probably something with Jace. I mean, like I said, Jace is Chapin's Elspeth, you know, like Elspeth to Kibler.
Yeah.
So we know Kibler's running Elspeth, and we know I think I have a reasonable chance of being right, thinking that Chapin is running Jace.
That's what we got over there.
But I don't
Whoa.
see. I don't know. I don't see.
Green cards?
I'm not sure.
I got Affinity. I see.
Yeah, I
Tree
see
of
like a
Tails.
lot of artifacts. Yeah. Wow.
Tree of Tails.
That's
Wow.
wow, crazy. If that's what that is. I mean, Memnites? Or is it Memoricide? I don't know.
Maybe he actually has it this time. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like Tamblyn seems to have a Venser in his hand, I think I've seen. Oh, no, there's a Knight of the Reliquary, sorry. Yeah, it was
I
not
thought that
Venser.
was a Duskwalker, but there's no way that's a Duskwalker. Oh, that's a Lotus Petal.
Yeah, he's got Lotus Petal for sure.
This is Lotus Petal Knight of the Reliquary? What a crazy brew. Turn 2 Knight of the Reliquary is kind of...
Yeah, he's got 2 Knights in his hand.
Crazy brew. Now, the Green and Taxes deck we saw last week, that didn't have Lotus Petal in it, did it?
I don't think so. I'm going to bring up the list.
Yeah. I don't believe it did. And Chapin is tanking. It's turn 1 land, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, I don't think that we saw Lotus Petal played in any rock decks recently. So I wonder what Tamblyn's up to. List of the Trader isn't legal yet. All right, so here we go. Turn 1, Tree of Tails from Chapin. Springleaf Drum, that can only mean one thing. Mox Opal is active.
So he's got an active
Oh.
Opal. There.
Oh my. Here comes a Glimpse of Nature.
Wow.
Already turn 1.
Turn 1 Glimpse of Nature.
Turn 1 Glimpse of Nature. And here we go. Memnite, draw a card. Memnite, draw a card.
So there's the Memnites we
And
were.
here we go, facing down a forest.
Frogmite?
Frogmite, draw a card.
Wow. Love it.
Absolutely insane,
He's
boys
got
and
4
girls.
cards in hand. One of which I believe is that a Thought Cast in his hand.
He has a Thought Cast. He also has the Arcbound Worker he can cast. And I draw a card from. Choose. Yep, here
There's
comes
the
Arcbound Worker.
Gonna draw him a card.
Draw a card. Wow. All right, this is my turn 1. You can go.
Yeah, this is quite a different different situation than the Tempered Steel deck you were describing.
Yeah, exactly. Not quite what you would imagine out of Patrick Chapin.
No, not at
And he's
all,
probably
wow.
going to be using that to his advantage. So Alex uses his Lotus Petal to crack and gets something out a little early here.
Yeah, there's the Knight.
Got
As he
Knight of the
predicted,
Reliquary.
turn 2 Knight.
But there's no lands in the graveyard. It's just a 2/2.
Yeah, not all that scary, you know. Frogmite beats it.
And
Not that he
Chapin's
would
got even
trade.
more lined up. Now, we saw the Affinity deck last week, too, in the top 8 of the tournament, correct?
Yeah, I think. Let's see.
Yeah, and the Glimpse Affinity deck. And I know Cedric Phillips.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
In 8th place.
Yeah, I know Cedric Phillips had worked on this deck a lot when it originally came out. And when Scarlet Mirrodin came out. And now he hyped it a little bit and made top 8. And now Chapin is playing it.
Yeah, see, is Cedric Phillips like the Brett Favre of Magic? He's like retires, comes back.
Yeah,
retires.
so he announced his retirement. Less than a week later, he gets second in the Magic Online PTQ. I mean, just like.
And I think he wears Wrangler jeans too.
So last year, Jerry Thompson retired. For all you guys who didn't know. And then he won a PTQ in Magic Online a couple weeks later, and then he went back to San Juan, and now he's here today. So.
Is it Darksteel Citadel?
Yep, Darksteel Citadel. I mean, that Affinity deck is just so brutal. For those who played back in the day.
Yeah, I still have my standard Affinity deck in sleeves. Yeah, I think we're out. I don't know. Are we out of water? Like there wasn't. Is there another?
Radio play.
Okay, the ultimate disaster has just occurred for broadcasters and for me in general. We are out of water, and if you don't know me, I once got cut off from water at a restaurant.
I think Gavin drank 21 of the 24 in the case there.
Yeah,
It was right here just now.
Yesterday I drink a lot. There's a reason I can keep up this chatter for so long without sounding like some kind of throat operation victim.
So that's the
So there's cranial
cranial
plating,
plating.
and it's suiting up a worker, and that worker is almost certainly going to get blocked by Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah. And
And Chapin's thinking, what's my line here? I think what he's trying to figure out is if that Mem Knight should get into.
that guy's counting up the situation in the background, and Ricky Hayashi there in the background.
Munching away.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's trying to figure out if that Mem Knight should come in, if it's worth it or not. If the Knight's just going to go there and get a free creature, but he decides to send it in the end. And now Chapin's doing the math, or sorry, Tamblyn's doing the math,
Yeah.
counting it up.
Knight of the Reliquary does not look so hot when there are no lands in the graveyard, and it has no way of. It has summoning sickness,
So Alex does decide
blocks and kills a Mem Knight.
to block that Mem Knight, and a large chunk of his life total leaves in the process. Whenever an opponent casts turn 1 Glimpse of Nature, you know things are going to start going badly.
Yeah.
So Alex looks over his hand, trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this situation. And for those who aren't familiar with the Affinity deck, it's brutally powerful. If you look, you'll see cards, old cards mixed with new. You see Mox Opal from the new set, Mem Knight. You probably recognize that one. But Frogmite, Affinity, basically free. 4 mana 2 to the cost 1 less for every artifact you have. Arcbound Worker, 1 mana 1/1, essentially 1/1, comes to play with the counter. When it dies, you can move the counter somewhere else. You have Springleaf Drum, a Lorwyn common, kind of a trippy card no one really played with until Affinity started using it. Bill Stark kind of introduced it into Affinity, and you go, turn 1 Ornithopter or Mem Knight, Springleaf Drum, tap it, get a mana. Can really create some strong plays. And then, of course, you have the artifact lands and cranial plating, which gives whatever it's on +1/+0 for each artifact you control.
Yeah, I mean, and keep in mind, this is Tamblyn's 3rd turn, and he went first.
Yes.
He is at 8 life on his 3rd turn. Chapin on turn 2 has his opponent at 8 life. So we have a Tarmogoyf.
8 life. What world are we living in?
Yeah.
Legacy.
Legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
We're like we've been covering Standard for the past 24 hours. We're like, how did this? What happened?
Yeah, I mean,
so he passes the turn
plays
with
a Tarmogoyf, which
with a living knight still. That did not. That's why he's at 8 life, because he did not chump block the worker that has the cranial plating.
Right.
So how big is that Tarmogoyf? I see.
The cool thing about Tarmogoyf against Affinity is it is always really huge, because you have Artifact Creature is a common thing. You have
Right.
Sorcery from Thoughtcast and Glimpse of Nature here. So
He's
it's
got. It looks like sorcery and
like
artifact creature, and
yeah, and then the land from the Reliquary is essentially one, because he
right,
can
because
crack that at any time.
he can crack it. Yeah.
And that knight can get up to potentially a 4/4 if he finds a fetch land this turn, or a wasteland or something similar. So
right now we have Tarmogoyf at a 3/4. Is that right to you? Artifact creature sorcery.
3/4, but essentially
can be 4/5, right?
right?
Just want to
Yeah.
make sure that's clear.
Turn 1 Glimpse of Nature, unbelievable.
I love it, and completely unexpected out of Patrick Chapin.
So
he may be
true.
disappointed that he got a feature match already round 1.
I'm not disappointed. This is awesome.
I'm certainly not disappointed. What's funny is, as fast as the Affinity deck is, it's almost, I mean, maybe it's because of the complicated board state that just, was just vomited from Chapin's hand. I watched Chapin, we were watching him yesterday, and he plays the control decks faster than he plays the aggro decks.
I mean, he knows how to play those decks so well.
Right, I mean, you've seen him, those control decks, he just, flies through his turns pretty much until there's, some situation where he needs to really go into the tank. But, I mean, here we go, we're on Chapin's turn 3, and here we go. So he's swinging in with 2 creatures, both have cranial plating, and both are getting blocked. The Knight of the Reliquary does indeed sack a forest to search for a land to make the Tarmogoyf bigger. So the Tarmogoyf is currently a 4/5 now that the land has hit the graveyard. How many artifacts does Chapin control? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that 11 artifacts that he controls? So those cranial platings are they are a beating that he. I mean, obviously he had to block, so he gets a Maze of It.
Maze of It, nice.
That's a nice defensive card right now. But we're gonna see.
So he's gonna maze the Mem Knight that got blocked. That Frogmite's still gonna get through for 2, but
No.
can you just go all in on Ravager?
You're doing this before damage, right?
Where does he have Ravager?
No, I'm
Yeah, he's got Ravager on the battlefield.
No.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Wow,
Yeah,
I didn't even see
if
him
he just goes
cast
all in
it.
on that Ravager, isn't that lethal?
You're at 8.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think so.
I
Yeah.
have an Archon
I mean,
Ravager.
that
He's
Frogmite's
counting up
unblocked.
right now.
I mean, I think Tamblyn just realized that there's no way I'm going to win if I trade off both my creatures here. So my only shot is to get that Nether Reliquary there, and then
So
maybe see if
yeah.
Chapin messes up. But Chapin, of course, is a pretty smart Magic player, and he's not going to let that happen.
He's doing the
Doing the jinger.
the affinity shuffle. All of them, if you can.
Yeah, so we just got asked if we wanted feature match deck list. The answer, yes,
Always.
please. So yeah, they're doing the kind of dance there that Affinity does, where yeah, I'll sacrifice these and these and these. Which ones should they be? Arcbound Ravager, what a card!
Yeah.
So the Darksteel Rare, for those who don't know what it does, 2-mana artifact, modular 1, so it comes into play with a 1/1 counter, and when it dies, it moves its counters elsewhere. But you can sacrifice an artifact to add a counter to it.
So for those of you that are only familiar with Standard, this you may have played against. You know, the was it the Vampire? It was Nantuko Husk upgraded to what was it? The Vampire that does it. It's
Vampire
the 2/2.
Aristocrat?
Yeah, Aristocrat, right? So like you're like oh yeah, it's just a 2/2. I'll let it in, and of course they just sack a bunch of their other creatures and kill you. So this is the Affinity version of that. You know, the artifact version. We've got Arcbound Ravager, except the the Ravager keeps those pumps and is just much more deadly. I remember when Darksteel came out and people were kind of talking about this card, and I thought, yeah, this does look good. I think I could take the Broodstar out of my Affinity deck and put this in. And so I grabbed a bunch of them really cheap, and then they were like ridiculous. You know, they were the the $20-25 card in Standard, which at the time in Standard
was unheard of.
Was big. You know, that was the top of Standard cards only went up to that about $25.
When I remember the first F&M after Darksteel came out, and someone had brought Ravager Affinity to the tournament with Skullclap and everything, and it was just, I watched it and I was just in awe. Everyone just like we're all in disbelief at how absurd it was. And Skullclamp. Let's not go back there.
Yeah. Skullclamp, for those of you who don't know, it is banned in Legacy, so we're not going to see any Chapin's deck. Hopefully not. But it's a 1 casting cost artifact equipment. The equipped creature gets +1/-1. Sounds great, right? Yeah. But it also has another ability. When the equipped creature is put into a graveyard, draw 2 cards, and the equipped cost is 1. So people would just kill off their own creatures just to be drawing cards.
Yeah, just cycle it around, put it on Arcbound Worker, put it on your Ornithopter.
Yeah, you're paying 1 mana to equip it to like a 1/1 modular creature, kills the creature, you move the counter to something else, draw 2 cards. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely nuts, and it quickly was banned in Standard.
So pop quiz out there for all you guys. Do you guys know what creature type Arcbound Ravager is? I mean, I know trust me, I know what creature type Arcbound Ravager is, but do you know it?
Yeah, that's a good question because it was errata,
Yeah,
because it just says artifact creature on the printed
all the
version.
old artifacts that didn't have creature types were errated. And I found this out the hard way.
Open that for you?
When my opponent cast Patriarch's Bidding, and I found out all of the cards in my affinity deck had different creature types. Arcbound Ravager is a beast that has been errated to be such. So all right, so
it is a beast.
It is a beast, which is not something you would imagine.
Doesn't hurt.
Frogmite is a frog. Ornithopter is a thopter. Patriarch's Bidding. not so good for you if you're the Affinity deck. So we have Chapin's deck list in front of us, and can we pull up the Affinity deck from last week?
Yeah, let's do that.
So let's pull that up. And
8th place, Drew Elwell playing Affinity from last week
so,
in Kansas City. So let's take a look.
Okay. So it looks like Chapin. Can we see the sideboard, please? I
Yeah.
want to see how close that is. Yeah. So the lists are very, very close. There's just a couple small changes. I mean, there's only so much to navigate in a deck like that. So this is the deck that Drew Elwell played. It's got a couple of interesting choices. It's got Chapin, which we talked about earlier, and some things that Chapin has chosen to elect. Chapin has a much more streamlined build. It's got Memnites, Ornithopters, Workers, Ravagers, Frogmites, all the usual suspects. He does have 3 Etched Champions. He has a Disciple of the Vault, which is a card that I know a lot of people, that Cedric Phillips, for example, didn't actually think was that good in the newer builds of Affinity, but Drew had it. Chapin has it now. And other than that, he's done things like max out on Mox Opals, max out on Cranial Platings. He's still got Springleaf Drum. The main deck is very, very similar to what Drew played. In the sideboard, he's got the only thing. Scroll down a little more so I can see.
Thoughtseize.
Yeah, the only thing that's major change is he doesn't have Thoughtseize, and he's got Mindbreak Trap instead for what I can only imagine are
you wanted to
Storm
zoom
combo
in.
decks.
I zoomed out. I thought you wanted to try the whole
So,
got it.
so, you know,
Sorry, I thought you were
he's got
trying to
Nihil
get the whole
Spellbomb,
thing.
Relic of Progenitus for the graveyard decks, some Tormod's Crypt also for the graveyard decks, some great artifacts, Duress, Chalice of the Void, and Mindbreak Trap on his sideboard. So, surprisingly, it's a pretty stock deck from Chapin, and so I'd imagine he probably tried this deck out and was just like, you know what, this deck seems awesome. And game 1 it certainly was. Turn 1 Glimpse of Nature is just frightening, absolutely terrifying.
It's so explosive.
And can you imagine sitting down and just from Patrick Chapin in an unknown tournament like he's like turn 1 Glimpse of Nature? I don't know what's more terrifying.
Like, did he just play a green spell?
I mean, I played in the Pro Tour where Elves made its big debut, Pro Tour Berlin, and I mean, I knew it was coming then, and people would cast Glimpse of Nature, on turn 3 or 4, and it's like, okay, that happens, whatever. And but in Legacy, turn one Glimpse of Nature. Not even the Elf decks did that, It's just absurd.
Yeah.
So we're gearing up for Game 2 here, and for you guys just joining us, this is Gavin Verhey with Joey Pasco of MTG Taps, and we're here at the Star City Games Open Series in San Jose. We're on the Legacy portion now. Adam Prozac won the Standard portion, and now round 1 of Legacy. We've got Patrick Chapin, who's on your right. He's playing Affinity. He's pretty tight-lipped about his deck yesterday, and now he's playing it, and it's pretty fast. Game 1, he played turn 1 Glimpse of Nature, dumped his hand, played a bunch of guys, and attacked for, 10 plus on turn 2.
Turn 2, his opponent was at 8.
Yeah, so attacked for 12 damage on turn 2. Alex Tamblyn on the left is playing some kind of rock variant. He's known as Alex Greedy Mana Tamblyn by some of his friends, and he's got Nether Reliquary, Wasteland, Dark Confidant, all the usual hits you'd expect from that kind of deck, Tarmogoyf. We saw a similar deck maybe played by Michael Jacob last week, if you check out his article. It's got, Vindicate and such. All right, so
Chapin goes Darksteel, Citadel, Springleaf Drum, taps plays a Memnite, taps a Memnite for mana because of the for the Springleaf Drum ability. So he's got a mana floating. He is deciding on what he wants to play. It looks like
here comes a Worker.
Arcbound Worker. Thanks for the counter.
There's an interesting game Chapin has to play here because he's got a Frogmite he could play down. He's got a lot of artifacts he can unload, but he has to think like, do I want to risk overextending into something that he might have?
Exactly.
There are a lot of cards in Legacy, and ever since Affinity came out, there are a lot of artifact hate cards that have been printed. There's all kinds of things that Alex could have here, Kentucky Wars Wage, for example, He
does go ahead and play the Frogmite, by the way.
A splash to Energy Flux. There's all kinds of different things that could occur.
See, with these modular situations, Chapin is playing a completely different kind of counters than we're used to see him playing.
Right, exactly. They're not loyalty counters.
And not counter spells.
That also. Yeah, there are no copies of Jace the Mind Sculptor in Chapin's deck. So Dark Confidant flips over a card. Now he's going to do some fetch land, and I guess that since his Divining Top is probably going to enter the battlefield. We don't have Alex Tamblyn's deck list, unfortunately, so we can't really tell you if he has any good sideboard cards for Chapin.
Tamblyn's deck list? Okay, that's all good. I just was
So
wondering.
the judges are still checking Alex's deck list, so we can't quite get it yet.
Making sure he's not playing Skullclamp, apparently.
Unless it's a glacial worm.
Skullclamp, my Dark Confidant. I think this is probably one of the few situations where Skullclamp doesn't actually seem that good.
No.
Although,
Oh.
it would be kind of sick for getting rid of your Confidant late game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Is this the other feature? Okay.
Yes, wow.
I don't know the...
So, how the mighty have fallen. So, Adam Prozac, first round feature match in Legacy, playing his counterbalance deck. He knows how to play it well. He lost round 1.
2-0.
2-0. Now,
Quickly.
obviously, there are a lot of bad matchups in Legacy he could have played against. A lot of things could have happened. We'll see if he maybe makes a run back and does well in this event. But it's too bad. I think it's ironic that he did so well in Standard Open when really he came here for the Legacy, and he's already down a match there. But I've top-8'd a ton of PTQs in which I've lost the second round or even first round. So Adam still has his odds of doing fine in this tournament. He knows how to play his deck well.
So we saw the top hit play. We've seen now a Tarmogoyf hit play. The Tarmogoyf is looks like I see land and sorcery in the graveyard, so it's just a 2/3 at the moment. It is Chapin's turn at the moment, and looks like he tapped. He tapped the Springleaf Drum and the Memnite for mana to play the Thoughtcast. Oh, you're writing back. I was about to reply to the same tweet. You got it. All right, so meanwhile, Alex has taken a little bit of damage so far. He is at 16. Chapin's still at a healthy 20. I don't know if I'd call 16 a healthy life total against Affinity, but
I'd say
the current board state, it's okay.
It's better than 8 on turn 2, right?
That's true, yeah. We do see Nico Bolas on Tamblyn's side. Unfortunately, it's the back of his cards. The sleeves that have Nico Bolas on there.
It's true.
Don't expect to see the actual Planeswalker. Probably not all day.
It's pretty
But I
threatening.
guess it's possible. There is a Pernicious Deed. He tops.
Pernicious Deed, now that is a dangerous card for Affinity. It hits
Yeah.
artifacts too, so it kills all the lands.
Yeah,
Yep, and here
goes
it
right away.
goes. Goodbye Arcbound Worker, goodbye Springleaf Drum, goodbye Memnite. Fortunately, that Darksteel Citadel is indestructible,
Yeah.
but that's still going to set him back. I mean, Affinity looks a lot less threatening when the board is Tarmogoyf, board is a 3/3 Frogmite and a Darksteel Citadel.
Pernicious Deed is a card, and we were talking about this earlier this morning about how I had kind of taken a small break from Magic during the invasion block, and Pernicious Deed is one of those cards that I was like, wow, that's kind of ridiculous, but it's about to rotate. Like by the time I came back, it was about to rotate, so I never actually got to play with it in Standard, and it's a really powerful card.
I think it's interesting. It was talked about on the Mothership or somewhere recently about the naming of cards, how like Pernicious Deed, they knew the card was going to be good, so they gave it a name that wouldn't be repeated very often. And so like when someone says Deed or Pernicious, you just automatically know what the card is.
Right.
There's no other card with Pernicious. Very few things with Deed, right? Like it's pretty cool. So anyway, back to the game. We have a double Tarmogoyf from Tamblyn, and
He
things
replayed
look-
his top, yeah.
Things look pretty good for him here. Chapin doesn't really have much going on, and he's got double Tarmogoyf, Dark Confidant, top, finding something every turn. This is going to be a problem if Chapin wants to take out this game. He's so far behind, and that's a Swords in Alex's hand, too.
Yeah, and something else is it possibly another Deed in his hand? I don't know.
Thoughts
So
he's on
he's
top
gonna
of his
use
deck,
it-
so he can take a
use
peek
it
at what
top,
Chapin's
yeah.
got. Reveals where it's
So,
going to go.
yeah, land off
The
of
interaction with
the
the top is so nice
yeah,
there.
top and Dark Confidant's great.
I mean, you never take any damage. You always get the cards you want. I mean, looks like there's a Swords and a Croson Grip, too.
Yeah.
Alex definitely has some options.
He's got the sideboard, and he's drawing all the sideboard cards.
Well, the thing about cards like Pernicious, there's Adam
Yeah.
Prozac in the background with his trophy. The thing about
Pernicious Deed's pretty good against a lot of things.
Yeah, like-
and Chapin realizes.
like Pernicious Deed is good against tons and tons of decks. See if maybe we can get some Adam Prozac in the booth telling us about his round one. Adam, tell us what happens.
I got the practice out of me.
Yeah, come in and tell us.
This back here.
I don't know if you can. You'd have to ask Glenn or somebody like that.
Alright. I will ask him, but leave it back here in the meantime.
All right, let's. All right, so yeah,
let's
so
commentate on.
I'm gonna tag out real quick.
on
BFF's
on
Alex Tamblyn.
Alex Tamblyn. All right, so tell us what happened in your round one while these guys are shuffling up. So you're playing counterbalance, right?
Right. I got nut drawed by Mofo. His draw is just very good, both games, and I didn't play a source of white man. I didn't play a white spell in the match. So I mean, I got beat pretty soundly.
Oh man, rough. Well, so
I'm not gonna complain. You know what I mean?
Still 1-1.
I mean,
yeah, we'll see what happens. You can still pull it back.
I will take all my run goods at one time.
It's true. It's better than 6-2 in PTQ.
Yeah. You know, if you 6-2 at every PTQ, you win in just as many matches but get nothing.
Right.
And I'd rather just lose 4 matches here and then just none.
So you know Tamblyn, Alex Tamblyn.
Yeah, he's a fellow Phoenician.
Good word choice. So tell us about his deck here. Do you know what he's playing?
He's just playing the basic like green, white, black, everything you've seen or whatever. He's whenever he plays he's played like the single deck, like the Eva Green. That's what it's called. Like the mono black splash gatekeeper. Like he's played that in the past. Like that's his style of deck or whatever. Very disruptive.
Alex Tamblyn is really no, never mind. Don't worry about it.
It's nothing special. You could probably look up like whatever the top 8 was from Kansas City and not be more than 5 cards
So
off.
I mean, so the interesting thing we saw that Alex has is we know Alex Greedy Man at Tamblyn.
Yeah.
He's got Lotus Petal in his deck. What are those doing there?
Okay. So here's the thing: is like he wanted lots of Mox Diamonds
Okay.
because they're so good on turn 1, etc., etc.
And so he was
What's
like, Lotus
Chapin doing playing Affinity, by the way?
I don't know. Game 1, he went turn 1 Glimpse of Nature, unload my hand. But I don't know.
I mean, it's fine and all, but like, he got a deed in game 2, right?
Yeah, he got deed in game 2.
I walked over and I saw a deed in the yard and
A Frogmite.
Yeah.
Plus some counter.
right.
Yeah.
So like, I don't like playing these like glass cannon decks or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
they just have the
all
hate cards. And
none of them do well. Like I can't remember like how often do. I mean, there's all sorts of glass cannon decks in Legacy. They're like, you know, like Elves, Charbelcher.
Charbelcher, literally a glass cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you don't like Affinity in this format?
Nah. Is that at least a seed of the Synod?
So Seat and
Yeah.
and Vault of Whispers.
Yeah, so at least he could cast his stock cast for a little bit.
So he's just got Lotus Petal to
If I was
turbo
Alex,
him
I would have wastelanded there, because he's clearly not doing anything on one land. And he like if your opponent plays an untapped land and you have a bunch of lands in your hand,
you might as well just kill
you
his.
can go wasteland and like, but he thought seized or whatever, gave Pat the opportunity to thought cast, and now because he spent 2 mana, so playing turn 2 probably has value, whereas replaying turn 1.
Thank you.
Let's see anything.
No,
Still not the right person. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Oh, actually, can I see that again? I think it looks sweet.
Whose is that?
It's Michael Pazga's deck. I
Oh,
probably
okay.
shouldn't show it to you, but
I saw the next one, but yeah, don't show me the list.
okay. Did you know what he was playing?
Yeah, I play. He's in the written feature match.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, he's playing like a goblin, bunch of interesting cards. He's got some LEDs, like Mox Opals and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's
That's
playing
pretty cool.
like a welder grindstone deck.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, painters, yeah.
So Chapin's trying to get back in the
This is
game.
the problem I have with Affinity.
Tarmogoyf, go. I got some Frogmites. I mean, Chapin was kind of maybe getting somewhere, but that Tarmogoyf is going to do a pretty good job of holding
the
it
thing
back.
is, when your payoff is 2/2s and 4/4s, it doesn't matter how free they are.
Right.
Like, the thing about like Affinity when the first Mirrodin was out was that like 2/2s and 4/4s
Yeah.
was good size, but now they're just not.
Yeah, we're talking about this in Extended last year when Affinity was like trying to make a comeback. It's like, why even bother? You can
Which
get
one do you suit it up on?
you can get three
I
threes
suit
for
it
one
up on
mana.
Frogmite.
I don't know. I kind of want to put it on the Ornithopter.
It's 2 damage. It's 2 damage if you suit him up right here. The only way it's bad is if Alex plays the D. It's kind of fun not seeing the card. All I can see Alex's cards, and he should block here. Like you can trade like.
What's that black card in his hand?
Himdatarok.
Is that him? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can cast it. That's a Savannah.
Yeah, it's Savannah and
A Horizon Canopy.
No, it's Scrublander.
Well, it's Scrubland in play, Horizon Canopy in hand.
Oh yeah. All right.
I'd be so sick if you just like, black 6. Although I guess you don't him here. Him would actually be pretty bad. I think you just like bob and swords here.
I mean, that cranial plating is kind of the glue that could really help hold the Affinity deck together. It doesn't
Right,
look like it's supposed to
I
destroy.
think that's your actual payoff is cranial plating.
Right, and I mean, he can jam the Dark Confidant and keep swords up
If
potentially.
you guys want to, I don't know how good it is, but there's a really interesting Affinity. It's same Affinity shell, but it's like got some stacks elements to it. It's like a big Affinity. It's got like Etch Champion, Lodestone Golem.
I'll take
All right.
it.
Okay. Cool.
You bring. Thank you. Cool. All right, so Kibler's entering
Yeah.
the booth.
Brian Kibler rejoining us after his round.
Did you win?
Himdatarok is as good as it was in 1996.
All right.
Interesting.
Still good.
Him, I win, or was it just one?
Actually, game one, my opponent was playing a Doomsday combo deck.
Oh,
Game
so-
one, he went first. I played Swamp, Mox Diamond, Thought Sees You. Turn 2, I hemmed him. Turn 3, I hemmed him.
Wow. So
Well played.
him, I win.
Did
right?
you play Joe? Lost it?
I did, yes.
Yeah, he is so cool. His revised lands are the best. he has like just a whole big box. He's all, like I play like all unhinged lands. He's like, yeah, I got revised lands.
See,
The
my
ugliest
favorite,
lands white border. Is
my favorite is
possible.
Zendikar. I really like the look
Yeah.
of the Zendikar.
Yeah,
cards.
they're nice.
I like Unhinged the best, but Zendikar
But
is a
I've
close
played
second.
Unhinged for so long that I have a hard time changing. Although awkwardly enough, because I just happened to pick up the deck of a friend yesterday. I played betas.
Yeah,
for
we
standard.
saw that. Yeah, we commented a little bit on those. So Chapin's got the plating on the Frogmite now coming in.
That is, I assume that knight is not active.
Yeah, you're correct.
He just played it. Here's an Elspeth. I would have gone Bob Swords.
I believe that's probably would have been a better play. Just looking at
Yeah.
the board, through
Yeah.
in the dark.
Yeah, he just the
just takes
worker
way
is
too much
fresh.
damage.
The worker is fresh.
Right.
He Chapin
Yeah,
suited
he
up a
obviously-
frog
he
my
obviously can't
last
block
turn that
this turn,
traded with
and-
Time of Goth.
Would Paul Neverez and Bo Brugman please come up to the main
Is that a seal of Primordium?
Paul Neverez. and Bo
not sure.
Because if it is, that's the nut. Yeah, that is definitely a seal of
Feel of
Primordium.
Primordium. Wow.
To grow the
Yeah,
grow
the
the Time
Goyf,
of Goth.
right.
way to text on the air.
They can't see me.
Yeah,
It's not like it's beeping when I'm pressing buttons. I've been away from my phone for so long.
You're,
been over here
been
charging,
around.
You're such a slave.
I mean, I am an
the
addict. I am
information
an
age.
addict. I
Absolutely.
really am. I mean, like, that's no joke.
Yeah.
You know that you could get help for that.
No need.
No,
I don't
but-
want it. I don't want
right.
like,
The first step is admitting.
Yeah, no.
So Patrick's turn here.
Oh, this is a good one.
Is
I think Pat has a good card in his hand.
that Disciple the Vault?
Well, yeah, that's Disciple, but I think Pat has an S champion hand, which is awesome.
Yeah, I thought I saw that too.
Come on, Tamblyn.
Is that a spell pierce in Tamblin's hand?
No, it's a Sword to Plowshares.
I thought I
They're
saw.
kinda
I'm so
close.
confused.
Yeah.
I thought I saw
Wait
a
a
blue
second.
card.
Must have been a glare. It's a foil sword. No, it really isn't.
It's
but
a nice hit sword.
I know.
Yeah, I'm playing them.
But the foils usually, they throw you off because
Yeah, because of the glare or
kind
whatever.
of think it's a different color.
How it's resolved.
So Chapin taps 3, 4.
S champion. And that guy's gonna have to do some more.
Yeah, he didn't tap 4. He had 1 tap.
Oh.
already. Yeah,
Awkward
I was
enough, I'm pretty sure Alex has a basic in his deck.
He does. We saw it in
Okay.
in game 1.
Commanding 21-0 lead over the Seattle Seahawks.
That's an interesting attack. I like it.
So plating on the Ornithopter.
Does Tamblyn have? Does he have Mazavith in his deck?
He
Yeah.
does.
So
We don't have the list.
I believe
You probably shouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
well, you can. I would be down for swordsing the Disciple and sealing the plating.
you can also, I mean, you can also get Mazavith here.
Yeah.
Mazavith
looks like it's what
plating
he's
kind of
doing.
suck.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't really need to kill the plating if you have the maze because it's going to blank whatever it is. Even the Etch Champion because it's a land. It's only protected from all colors.
Right. It looks like he's just gonna get a land.
I don't see a maze.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely had one in game 1.
Oh, there it is.
So,
Found
yeah.
it.
Second from the top.
So it seems like if you plow the Disciple, block that Frogmite and plating or maze the Ornithopter, you end up taking 1 damage.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you just get a real land?
I'm just trying to figure out how.
Yeah,
so
you
if
can get a real land. Swords the thing. Seal Primordium the plating.
That may, yeah, maybe. I guess that means that because otherwise S Champion would be a threat in addition to the plating.
Right, but he's gonna knight for, cause he still needs mana or whatever.
That's true. Yeah. So if he plows the Disciple,
there
he
he
almost sealed before.
so plow the Disciple, seal the plating. Yeah, so he's gonna take
Makes
1
sense.
damage here and kill a Frogmite. That was a pretty good turn for him.
Yeah, kill Frogmite for free.
Take 1.
He's at 5 life though. That 1 damage
Yeah.
is actually very relevant.
I guess that makes like
Yeah, that makes that play
Chapin's
definitely.
attack much better. I didn't.
You weren't looking at the life totals because you were looking at that screen, which doesn't have them
So
on there.
he still has to keep the knight on defense and then two.
Well, it also makes the his play of not getting
confidant.
right. Well, A, not confidant, and B, not getting mazed with because he needs mana to kill him like the Horizon Kid.
Yeah.
So,
Hymns
is that?
for a glimpse of nature. That's actually a pretty good hymn, even though Chapin can't cast it right now.
Yeah, there's
But
no
it's
green
not
mana
like.
or other cards in his hand.
Yeah. Not actually doing much.
But I mean, him is a card that's not really going to ever do anything as the affinity deck.
Right. The other
They
thing is
play
like,
out everything they have. so.
right.
That's a good draw.
Bound
Must
Ravager is
be.
pretty good. Too
That's
bad he
a
didn't.
really
he had the
good
glimpse.
draw.
Just
Wow.
yeah.
Well, good thing that Disciple's gone. The game was just over. So
Yeah.
Does he have another plow? I think he's dead if he doesn't have another plow.
Well,
Looks like
Because
sort of. He can.
he's not dead right away.
Make,
He's
yeah,
got an
he can
Elspeth.
make that commit to.
I mean, he can put him to 1 life. He can sack something to he can sack Worker to Ravager and pump Etch Champion,
Right.
and then
Then yeah, it was just on
Yeah, so
like
sack Worker,
almost
Ravager,
not-
put him to 1.
He has to take this.
so I think so. The play is sack Worker to Ravager, put the counter on Etch Champion,
Yeah, put him on 1.
then put him to 1. And then if he tries to maze, you just kill him with Ornithopter.
Right.
So
looks like
We're not gonna
good,
play
good
around
position for
plot here,
Chapin to be in.
Yeah, Chapin's almost assuredly got this one. I think Alex would have to draw like he's drawing 2 plow actually.
Sacrifice Archon Worker.
So he does exactly what you said. Sacks the.
Yeah, he put a counter on the Ornithopter, which was also fine.
Right, right.
which
Yeah,
is-
exactly.
It's an equivalent play. It makes the Ornithopter into an actual threat that can kill his opponent. It's actually probably a better play.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it
Makes more
actually
sense.
makes the Ornithopter lethal next turn because it's at 1, so it gives him 2
Yeah.
lethal threats in the
Two,
following
yeah.
turns. So even maze doesn't
Well,
matter.
3 if you want to count the Ravager.
Right. Well, two evasive lethal threats
Yeah.
is the important.
Yeah.
So I think
So Alex,
looking at Tamblyn's hand, I think he has to just hope he doesn't go all in. I think he actually has to maze here because he can't afford to take the damage. Like I think he has to get maze and just hope Pat doesn't kill him and to try to draw something because he can't go to 1 life because he just dies to that board almost regardless.
Right,
of what he
yeah.
draws. So he needs to hope
Yeah,
that,
the only
that
other
Pat
thing
is
you
afraid
could
of
do
going all in.
Is like go get a land to crack the canopy and hope to draw a swords or
Yeah,
a
that,
seal.
that I think is
and it's still like really sketchy. Yeah, I like your line of play.
he has this hope Pat is afraid of plow, unwilling to go all in on the ornithopter.
The thing is, it's not even a bad all-in play or whatever.
Right.
Here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he
'Cause
still
you're
has
gonna
that
have to do
champion
it.
play.
You're still gonna have to do it
Right.
eventually.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's correct for Pat to go all in here despite the threat of plow.
Yeah.
But it's still.
And the thing is, the all-in doesn't cost you like all your lands or anything.
Yeah, it's
absurd
not
like
actually
that.
all in. It's
Right,
it's
it's-
mostly in.
Yeah.
He still has he still has a lot of
Yeah,
action.
you
His
have
opponents
to
are
cash in your
very low
Ravager.
life.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
He took the damage and still. That's terrible.
What?
Why did he
What
get
just
the maze if he wasn't?
Yeah. You only
Planning
need the
on-
maze if you're gonna use it.
Why not use the maze? I mean, it's
Yeah, that
right
was-
there.
At least get a land to cycle canopy with, and then maze
Yeah.
the following turn.
I don't understand that play.
Yeah.
I mean, now he's just dead.
Yeah.
He has to.
He has to play his Bayou. Draw a card.
And well, he can't even use. He has to use the Bayou and the canopy to draw. Can't even tap canopy for mana at this point.
Right, he has to draw off canopy.
He has to draw
and
a
then-
plow.
And then, plow. I don't know if there might be like seal primordial.
No, he can't draw Seal Primordial. Oh,
If there's like a 2-mana.
what is he doing?
Yeah, I'm
I guess,
not
I
really
guess he just wants to.
Playing up the magic, play magic
Yeah.
for as long as possible.
I mean, I guess. Oh, and there's cranial plating,
Nice deck.
which.
I think the worst card ever.
I mean, the game's already over at this point, pretty
Yeah.
much. Like he can cranial plating.
Cranial plating does nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
well, the thing is, the cranial plating makes it so it doesn't feel as all in. Like he doesn't have to actually lose his Ravager.
He doesn't have to. Alex is at 1.
Well, he could block Ravagers.
Yeah.
So the question is, how many? Yeah, he doesn't even equip. What's going on? Oh, he has instant speed. Never mind. Oh, he can just equip in response to maze. Yeah, this is actually.
What sorts of ushers? Target
Yeah,
United
he's
Developer.
digging.
Is Chapin playing around plow?
He's playing. Like in this situation. Yeah, he actually there's no outs
Okay.
because if he has. What's he doing?
Playing magic for as long as possible. He's been known to do.
He's just like.
Just extending
Alex
the
Alex
Do I
is
have a
the-
second maze in my
Yeah,
deck?
he's like, I'm gonna look through my
Alex
deck.
is the master of like 5-hour FNM top.
All right, so there you have it. Patrick Chapin takes the match 2-1 with Affinity.
Yeah.